I just listened to Warren Buffett speak for 6 plus hours at Berkshire Hathaway's 2024 annual shareholder meeting, and here's a short summary with some of my biggest takeaways. As you could see, this was in a fully sold out arena. This was taken about an hour before he started, and you could see the crowd there was pretty massive already. As we scroll into some of the other bigger stuff, we did see some very important people in attendance, including Apple fan or Apple CEO, Warren Buffett fan, Tim Cook. Now, Apple was one of the biggest stories from this Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting, as Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway sold about 13% of its Apple investment during Q1. They did give a couple reasons for it, but yeah, they now own about 790 million shares, down from the 905.6 million shares of Apple that they had previously owned as of the end of last quarter. We'll talk more about some of the reasons that he gave for this, but a couple of them were talking around how he actually likes cash as an investment right now, given where rates are at and given what he sees for the economy, the market, everything like that, that the opportunities he sees out there don't really excite him as much as just hoarding cash does right now, which they do have a lot of cash, that is for sure. But he also talked about taxes. He was saying that he thinks that the long-term capital gains tax rate, at least the highest bar within that, will probably go up, and that could give a little bit of some thought into what might be happening into their thoughts around selling some of their Apple shares. As I was talking about cash right there, Warren Buffett said that he thinks it's a fair assumption that they will have more than $200 billion of cash by the end of Q2. As of the end of Q1, they had more than $188 billion, basically at $189 billion. So we will be watching that closely. Berkshire Hathaway is definitely hoarding some cash over there. He was talking about a core economic goal being to increase operating earnings and decrease shares outstanding, which is a little bit interesting. I think it goes into his thoughts around share buybacks, that he's much more of a fan of that than paying out dividends, as he thinks he's a better capital allocator and would be better for the long term if he is the one running that money. We have a couple other quotes from the shareholder meeting. Warren Buffett kind of talking about his market thoughts right now. I don't mind at all given current conditions, building a cash position. He talked about some regrets around not buying more Costco stock back in the day. He talks about Charlie Munger being the person who really inspired him into Costco, and there was a couple other shares, and he was talking about how Charlie was so right in there. And talking of that, this was the first Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting that Warren Buffett did without Charlie Munger, and there was even a moment after he answered a question and he threw it over. He said, "What do you think, Charlie?" And he meant to say Greg, but he was just so used to for these so many years doing that. So that was a moment there. The only books, they normally sell a bunch of different investing books, but the only book in the store this year was Charlie Munger's book that he wrote. So it was definitely a different feel without some of those quippy remarks, but Warren Buffett was definitely carrying on. There was talks around, internationally, and this was in response to a question about China, and he kind of did bat away from that one, but he did talk about his Japan investment recently that Berkshire Hathaway has made and the success that one has brought them. He also talked a little bit about Canada as well, which was intriguing. He said that they might have one or two things going there, but the U.S. would always be the major part of their investment. And if they do anything massive, it would probably be in the United States. There was some more thoughts around AI. Warren Buffett kept saying, he was asked about it actually multiple times, about generative AI and AI in general. He just kept saying that he really didn't know anything about it, and that's fine. I guess it's a little bit past his time. But what he did say was he saw a deep fake of himself talking on the internet, and if he wouldn't have known anything, he would have believed himself. So he talked about AI to be used for scamming and phishing, and that could lead to a pretty big growth area. He compared AI to the nuclear bomb in kind of letting the genie out of the bottle, and the potential impacts there. So Warren Buffett is a little bit concerned about AI, but he did repeat multiple times that he doesn't really have too many full-on thoughts about it. Warren Buffett did say that they pay more than $5 billion in taxes to the U.S. government last year. He made some comments more around it, but $5 billion is definitely a big number. There was a lot of talks during the shareholder meeting about Greg Abel, who is pretty much next in line to be and take over as Berkshire Hathaway CEO. Warren Buffett said in this, he didn't clear out and say, I think Greg Abel. Oh, he kind of did say that his vote would be for Greg Abel to continue being the main capital allocator at Berkshire Hathaway, and he thinks, Buffett thinks that the main capital allocator should be the person who's CEO. So Warren Buffett didn't say that Greg Abel will be the next CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, but he did really say that if he were voting on the board of people choosing that he would choose Greg Abel. So I think that obviously Berkshire Warren Buffett will have a big say in whatever the next person is at Berkshire Hathaway. So it makes some sense there. We did have another quote about the market right now, and there's been points in his life where there's been so many opportunities he could have gotten rid of all his cash by within the day. But this current market isn't really like that. A couple more comments. Warren Buffett saying around Apple and the iPhone that the iPhone may be the greatest product of all time. We all know that I am an Apple fanboy. It is my largest holding, so I had to throw this little quote in there. And then Warren Buffett also talked about Paramount. He said that Berkshire Hathaway sold all of its Paramount stake and took quite a big loss there. He did very much say multiple times that he was the person who did that and was the sole person making the decision there. Now, how true is that, or how kind of is he trying to take the blame off of future people who will be in charge of Berkshire Hathaway very soon? If Warren Buffett makes one bad play here, there might be people on the internet who say some things, but in general, his reputation is still very intact. So maybe he's trying to protect some of the people taking over at Berkshire Hathaway. We do not know, but Warren Buffett said Berkshire, they lost quite a bit of money in Paramount, and he kept saying that he was the person who solely did that. So that was a lot of my coverage around it. There was a couple other people who I saw tweeting about the Berkshire Hathaway annual shareholder meeting. This one was a great one, Q Compounding. Really enjoyed this. This is all on X. And he had a full thread here. He was live in Omaha in this packed stadium, which you could see. And there's just a couple quotes through this that I thought would be pretty good to add in here. Buffett was talking about, he's quite often said that if he had, in the range of $10 million, he could easily get a 50% gain each year. But when you get to the scale of billions, which, I don't think I'll ever find out what that feels like, then it becomes a lot more difficult to get those type of returns. And he hasn't been able to see the opportunities that can really move the needle for him and the company, and also get them that crazy high return. Let's just scroll through a couple more of these. You can pause the video as there's 90 to 100 of them in here. A lot of really great quotes talking about the next CEO here, that anyone who would retire at 65 wouldn't really qualify to be the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, kind of hinting at the fact that Greg Abel, the person who Warren Buffett has kind of said that he wants to take over, that he will be there for the long term. Warren Buffett had some more quotes to talk around how often you should be checking your stock portfolio. He was saying that people who didn't really look at their Berkshire Hathaway shares throughout every single day or every single week probably ended up doing better than the person who really just checked every single minute of it. And that makes some sense for a long-term investor. This is that talk around BYD and Costco. Ooh, didn't mean to click in there. But yeah, a lot of Greg Abel trying to be CEO. The market is there to serve you. Use it to take to your advantage. I enjoyed Hit Q Compounding's take on the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting and just the so many updates, quick bullet points. So pause at any time. There's 100 in here, and it was a great meeting that took a little bit to get through. And then I also enjoyed the Transcript Underscore, who have a really great newsletter you should go in and check out. Go to their profile. They put a couple quotes in here as well. Charlie Munger being missed. The end of the shareholder meeting. You should have a will. Buffett did talk a lot about the will, and that it's an important piece for him, and how he's changing it. Buffett talking about Canada on the iPhone, and a couple other stuff. So that was a lot of some of the biggest takeaways. A couple reminders of other things that I thought were interesting, or I was keeping a watch on, was Buffett saying that he didn't really talk about this too much, but they still have a secret position that they have been building over the last couple quarters that they have not had to disclose yet, that they've asked the SEC to let them not have to disclose it in their 13F filings, because they think it would start to move the markets, and they haven't really built their position fully out yet. This is now a $1 billion plus position that has been confirmed at the shareholder meeting, but we still don't know what that stock is. We do know it's in kind of the bank or finance area of the market. That's according to CNBC. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And Buffett did also talk about what his day-to-day looks like a little bit at this point in time. Buffett talked about how he's pulling back a little bit, that all the managers they have at the company really used to call him with all their problems, and now they've been calling Greg Abel for the last couple of years. Buffett was talking about that he just can't get done the same amount that he does, within a day now that he used to be able to get done a bunch of years ago. So yeah, that is a decent recap of Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting, the 2024 edition. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give this video a like if you're still at this point and you're here. That I think that means you're a true fan, even with I feel like my voice and everything that rambled a little bit towards the end. But yeah, Warren Buffett's 2024 annual shareholder meeting. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning into this. If you enjoyed, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And I will catch you all more as we go forward into this crazy week.